It's Wednesday. Y'all hear those horns? Y'all know what time it is. It's time to play some toss. Welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of the Tristain on Sports Show. It's your main man, T-Squared. Tristan Thomas here with you. Thank you for joining us on this edition. We are so happy to be here. But I think that's kind of where the happiness stops. We got some things to discuss this week, and they absolutely disgusted me. Let's hop on the T-Squared Express and get started on the state of the state with our first stop being in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah, we got to go there. We got to talk Packers football. We got to talk about how damn embarrassing of a loss they had on Thanksgiving night. Primetime NBC. Brett Favre gets his number retired. Bart Starr, after everything he's been through, he and Cherry come back to Lambeau Field to honor Brett Favre. And quite honestly, that was the best part of the night. That was without a doubt the best part of that entire game. Bart Starr getting off of that golf cart, embracing Brett Favre, saying, "What's up, pistol?" that was the best part. That is where my smile stopped. Because that game was damn embarrassing. Let's talk about this defense first, because the defense, once again, had a fantastic performance, squandered yet again. You give up 17 points to these Bears, to the Bears of all people. You lost. You lost to the Bears of all people, 17-13. Thanksgiving night, Lambeau Field, in front of multiple Hall of Famers. Ron Wolf was there. We already talked about Bart Starr being there. Brett Favre is going to be a Hall of Famer next go-round. You had the whole 96 Super Bowl team there. Everybody was there. This was your night to show up and show out. And you did nothing. You lost to a rival, a guy who Brett Favre dominated in all of his years of playing. A guy who Aaron Rodgers has owned. You let a quarterback in Jay Cutler, who has never won at Lambeau Field in any capacity with any team he's ever been on, come into your yard, punch you in the mouth, and take your lunch money. But I got to calm down, because we're not talking about the offense right now. We're talking about the defense, and the defense had their performance squandered yet again. They had it squandered yet again. I don't understand how this Freaky Friday flip has happened. It used to be no worries about the offense. We're going to go up and put up 27 to 30 points a game and pray that this defense only gives up 26 or 29 points for us to be able to win. Now it's flip-flop. Now the defense is going out there and giving up last three games. They've given up 16 against the Lions. They've given up 13 against the Vikings. And they gave up 17 versus the Bears. Not 24, not 27, not 30 points a game. They're in the teens. They're giving up teenage points. And you guys are scoring in the teens far less than what your opponents are scoring. In that 3-week stretch, you're 1-2. And the one game that you won, you put up 30. And even then, in the first half, your offense was struggling. But again, we're not talking about the offense yet. We're talking about the defense and how they had their performance squandered. Did they turn the ball over from Jay Cutler? No. And you have to give the Bears some credit. Jay Cutler did not turn the football over, which is something he is accustomed doing against this team, whether he be at home or whether he's at Lambeau. And he did not throw that drive-killing, game-killing pick. He played within himself, and the Bears got it done. The Packers gave up 101 rush yards to that squad, yeah, but it was on 31 carries. Cutler had 202 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Did they get an interception from him? No. They only sacked him once. So some of the credit goes to that Bears offense. The offensive line played very well, did not allow too much pressure on Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler played very smartly. He did not turn the football over. You have to give those guys credit. But that defense still played extremely well for the third week straight. And we spoke about it last week. We said that those guys were kind of getting their act together. We said those guys were back on the right track, at least from what I saw, at least from what I watched. I felt that they were on the right track. I didn't exactly say the same thing about this offense, which is exactly what I'm about to get into right now. What did I say about that offense? I said last week against the Vikings, that first half, they did not play well. Despite putting 16 points up on the board, they did not play well. Second half, they looked a little bit better. I said, hopefully they were getting back on track. They ended up putting 30 points on the board, which is something we hadn't seen in weeks. I'm really at a loss as to what to say about this offense. You hear all the superlatives, you hear all the quotes, you hear all the coach speak and player speak, and you get damn sick and tired of it. Mike McCarthy has been calling for adjustments for weeks now. You guys are still free falling on offense. Now you can say it's 9 weeks. 9. Because that first half of that Viking game indicated to me that you guys weren't quite all the way back. I had cautious optimism that maybe they might be getting back on the right track. But after this performance, clearly you guys are not back on the right track. Clearly you guys are not stuck in whatever mud you're stuck in. You're not out of whatever you're stuck in. Whatever you're stuck in, you're still stuck in it. Pretty much. So I really don't know what to say about this offense. I mean, Mike McCarthy was also calling for balance. And you promptly go and run the football 28 times. Eddie Lacy had his second straight 100-yard rushing game. But we'll get back to him in a second. So you get a second straight 100-yard rushing game out of Eddie Lacy, which is something you've been waiting for all year long out of him, which is consistency and big plays. So you run the football 28 times, and you said, the formula for us winning is not Aaron Rodgers throwing the football 40, 50, and 60 times, as he has been in the past few weeks. He threw the ball 43 times. That's not balance, Mike. I don't know what you call balance, but that surely ain't balance. You're the head football coach of this team. No, you're not calling the plays, but you damn sure have some input on them. Why are you allowing them to go and throw the football 43 times and only run it 28 times when they were having success running against this defense? I do not understand what the game plan is on offense when you say you want balance, but yet you throw the football 43 times and you only run it 28. That ain't balance. Especially when you were having more success in the run game than you were the passing game because nobody wanted to hold on to the damn football. Devontae Adams, how many more drops are you going to get? I believe he was targeted 11 times. Every single time that he did not catch a football, he dropped the damn thing. James Jones, a guy who's known for making tough catches, dropped what was probably going to be the game-winning touchdown. Randall Cobb dropping the damn football. Everybody's dropping the damn football. Richard Rodgers, everybody wants a piece of this drop action, and it's sickening. You're supposed to be a head coach who focuses on the fundamentals. It's the fundamentals. Every single interview you do, you say fundamentals at least 2 times. How are these guys dropping these passes? Why are you allowing Aaron Rodgers to throw the football 43 times when you're calling for balance? You stopped calling the plays because you wanted to have your hands in every single pot of this meal. You wanted to be able to put your imprint on everything: special teams, defense, offense, being in the linebackers room, being in the quarterback's room, everywhere. You wanted to put your imprint on everything. But it seems to me that it's escaping you. You preach the fundamentals. And again, the only good thing throughout this entire stretch, with the exception of a few games a few weeks ago, has been this defense. This defense has been carrying this squad. They're the only reason why the Packers have been in every single game with a chance to win it. Because the offense has damn sure have not been holding up their end of the bargain. And that's worrisome. And it's worrisome to me that I can see that there's a major adjustment, a major change that needs to be made. And the head coach, a guy who's been there for 10 seasons now, has won a Super Bowl. Now, far be it for me to tell him how to do his job. But I break down the game tape. He breaks down game tape. I see some problems. I'm pretty sure he sees problems. I see a possible solution to it. And it's being skated over by the guy who's in charge over there. The recipe for you guys winning for the rest of this season, and quite possibly if you make the playoffs, because now it's a big if. You're 7-4. You're sitting in that first wild card spot, and guess who's nipping at your heels? Oh, look, your old friend, the Seattle Seahawks. Now they're 6-5. Do not let them back into this. Too late. You guys already did. But you're sitting there at 7-4. So now a playoff spot is not exactly guaranteed to you. You got to go and fight for it. You're not going to get a number 2 seed unless you go and beat the Cardinals, and unless you can overtake the Vikings again, because now those guys are 8-3. They bounce back where you guys failed. But the recipe for you guys winning for the rest of this season is not this passing game, because guys don't want to hold on to the damn football. We've seen it time and time again. And I'm sick and damn tired of everybody saying, oh, it's on me. It's on me. Then do something about it. Everybody who is a fan of this squad, everybody who's followed this squad since birth, me included, is sick and damn tired of all the coach speak, all the players speak. Oh, we got to be better. We got to get on the same page. Oh, put it on me. I just dropped the passes. Nobody wants to hear that garbage anymore. Do something. Because this is not Packer football. And quite honestly, Thursday night, Thanksgiving, prime time, the world is watching you, nobody else. You are the only game in town. You got Brett Favre in the house. You got Bart Starr in the house. You got Ron Wolf in the house. You got a team that won the Super Bowl together in the house. And you embarrassed the G on the helmet. Yeah, I said it, and I didn't stutter. You embarrassed the G on your helmets. That was not a Packer performance anybody could be proud of. I'm damn ashamed in that game. I can handle a blowout. I can handle that. I can handle a shutout. Because everybody has them. Everybody has they're just their bad days at the office. But the way that this offense has reverted to a Pop Warner-like offense is disgusting to me. And that performance just capped it off. It is embarrassing to the G on the helmet. All of you should be ashamed of yourselves, with the exception of that defense, because they're the only ones doing their damn job. Vince Lombardi has got to be shaking his damn head right now and saying, what the hell is going on around here? The major adjustment that you guys need to go and make is the fact that this passing offense clearly ain't what it used to be. And it ain't because Jordy Nelson is gone. Yeah, he gives other guys room to operate. Don't get me wrong. The loss of Jordy Nelson hurts. We all knew that was going to be a factor in this season. We knew this. But guys holding on to the damn football, that ain't Jordy Nelson's fault. That ain't because Jordy Nelson is out with an ACL injury. That's guys not paying attention to fundamentals. That's guy not catching the football and then running. That's guy just flat out being lazy. You see lazy routes being run by everybody on the field, especially Devontae Adams, who needs to sit his ass down because he's not playing NFL caliber football. And if Ty Montgomery was healthy, you wouldn't see him on the field. You would not see Devontae Adams on the field. The laziness, the lack of fundamentals is killing this ball club. The lack of adjustments to this offense is killing this ball club. Now, what I've been trying to say for probably the last 5 minutes is that you're not going to win predicating this offense on passing, regardless of you having the 2-time over NFL MVP pulling the trigger for you. The adjustment that needs to be made is you guys need to make this a run-based offense. Because it seems to me that as of late, with Eddie Lacy running the way that he has, back-to-back 100-yard games, and the fact that I myself said just last week that this is Eddie Lacy's time. This is usually the time of the season when that calendar gets switched over from late November to early December. when you need to be able to run the football and play defense and get yourself primed for a playoff run, that Eddie Lacy really gets lathered up and starts going. And now you've seen that for the past 2 weeks. He has gotten lathered up and now he's starting to get going. So you need to run first on this team. That is the adjustment that needs to be made, because this offensive line has been doing a hell of a better job at run blocking than they have been at pass blocking. That, go and look at the tape. Go and study the footage and tell me I'm wrong. Those guys have been opening up lanes the past couple of weeks that they have not been opening up all season long. This is what you need to do. This is what needs to happen. Those guys need to make this a run-first based offense, because that threat of Aaron Rodgers getting going, and this run game is what's going to get him going. And maybe if some receivers can hold on to the damn football, you'll see some points. You'll see some points on the board. You'll see more than 13 points on the board. You'll see more than 16 points on the board. You'll see a legitimate 30 points on the board because it happened with consistency across all 4 quarters as opposed to just one half. You guys are in danger of losing your playoff spot. And that's real. That's not false information. You got a gang of teams that are like 5-6. You got a gang of teams that are 6-5. Nipping at your heels, including the Falcons and the Seahawks, who everybody was pretty much writing off early this season. Playtime is over. The tinkering and tampering, that's over with. The coach speak, that needs to be over with. The player speak, that needs to be over with. Saying this is on me, I'll take the responsibility for this, that needs to be over with. Y'all need to go and do something. The proof on the field is telling me that none of you really get it. None of you really understand how in dire straits you guys actually are. Because you may back your way into the playoffs, but if you're going to play like this, you're going to see your way out early in the playoffs. Early. First round exit. And that's even if you make it. You have your second straight Thursday game against a team that came, slapped you up, and left you with an L just a couple of weeks ago. In the Detroit Lions, you got to go to Ford Field. Thursday Night Football, NFL Network, CBS, prime time. You need to get this win. You need this W, and you need to show a much better understanding of how to play offense than you have pretty much a majority of the season. I would say since week 3. I said if there was ever a time to say put up or shut up, it was for that Vikings game. At that point in time, yeah, that was a point where you needed to put up or shut up. But now that's come back around after you guys decided to embarrass every Packer fan, every Packer legend, and that G on your helmet on this past Thursday night's game, Thanksgiving. Adapt or die. Let's take the T-Squared Express over to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and talk some Bucks basketball. Now, you talk about a team that really isn't understanding how to play offense. This would be your squad. This would be your squad. You talk about a team that doesn't really understand how to play defense like they did last year. This is your squad. And I'm not the only one who notices this. I'm sure all the Packer fans notice this. I'm sure everybody has seen this just by watching the games. But you know who else is even commenting on it? The head coach, Jason Kidd, who said on his Twitter, quote, "Guys are turning the page and understanding what we're trying to get done defensively. They're getting better. We're going to need that defense to compete and to win on the road." He's trying to put an emphasis more so on defense, and rightfully so. This is a strength on the team, or it should be a strength on your team. It definitely was last season. You guys are long. You guys are athletic. You guys should be a lot better defensively, especially on the perimeter, which was a strength for you last season. You guys blocked everybody on the perimeter and did not allow them to get any kind of baskets on the inside. You had one of the best defenses in all of the NBA last season. You were top 10 defensively. You bring back a lot of that personnel, and I get it. Pachulia is gone. He provided a bit of toughness, a bit of rim protection. He's no longer there. Jared Dudley, a little bit of defense and a little bit of shooting. He's no longer there. You decided to trade those guys. But that is no reason for this defense to have completely regressed and collapsed the way it has. You're still long, lean, athletic, can get after every single position defensively, especially on the perimeter, and you're not doing that. The system hasn't changed. Some guys may have changed, but the system has not. I don't understand how you don't grasp a system you've been in for a full year already. And this is your second year in the system. Them getting smacked up against Orlando was disgusting to watch. And I came out on my Twitter and I said flat out that they were not playing with any type of heart or any type of effort. And that is not something I tolerate. And it's not. That is not something I will ever tolerate. Those are the essentials you need to even go out and do anything that you do. If I didn't put heart and effort into toss, nobody would want to listen to it. I come out and I put my fiery passion, my truthful, opinionated, and passionate nature into every single show that I do. Because that is what the people deserve. That is what I love bringing to the table. Doesn't matter if it's a subject I'm extremely knowledgeable of or a subject that I'm just learning about. I'm going to put my heart, I'm going to put my effort, I'm going to put everything that I have into it. People come out to see you all do the same exact thing. And you have not been doing that, and not on a consistent basis. I can think of 2 games that you guys really, really looked good in. And that's out of the 17 that you've played. That's not getting the job done. Yeah, you guys got 6 wins. 6 or 7 wins. Actually, 7 wins now when you guys beat the Nuggets. And that's actually the second performance that you guys really looked good in. That you looked like the team that we all knew and loved from last season. This has got to get better. There's got to be some consistency in there. And I'm not going to stop believing that these guys can get consistent and be that dangerous squad. Everybody was putting all these expectations on them. Oh, they could get 50 wins and they could get a top 4, maybe even a top 3 seed. I said on the round table with Dennis Krause and Tom Pippen sitting right next to him, yeah, pump your brakes, folks. That's not going to happen. They're still young. They're still learning. They're still growing. But at what point does that cease to explain what these guys are doing? Why are these guys not consistent? I don't understand it. I don't understand. At what point does that cease to be a viable reason? You're all professionals. Most of you have playoff experience. You guys know how to play the game of basketball. Most of you guys have been in this Jason Kidd offensive and defensive system for well over a year now. How do you regress like that? Maybe that's part of the learning curve. Maybe these guys have to learn how to win all over again. Maybe these guys have to learn consistency. Maybe that's the big lesson this season. I don't know what it is. But you got to find some consistency. You lost to the Hornets a game after that Orlando performance, which is just a flat out debacle where there was no heart, no effort shown whatsoever. You lost to them 87-82. And even then, there's still some disturbing trends going on with this squad. Yes, the effort was better. Yes, I saw a little bit more heart out of them. Was proud to see it. But the thing is, offensively, you still don't get it. You're not a team that can shoot jumpers and win. You have to be able to hit an open shot, absolutely, but you're not a team that's going to consistently be able to. You're not a Golden State, so stop trying to be. You don't have the firepower for it. You guys need to go inside, outside, and take a lot more inside shots than you take outside shots. The spacing was still bad. It was a grinded out win, 87-82 for the Hornets. So the defense was obviously there, but not completely, because you guys gave up 15 for 31 from the three-point line. I repeat, you gave up 15 for 31 at the three-point line. That's not going to get it done. You cannot allow guys to go out there and shoot 31 threes and hit 15 of them. Your perimeter defense is supposed to be a strength, and it's failing you. And that's been the case all season. Teams are just look back at the Pacer game. Guys are just loading up from three and just burying them. And they think just because they're running at them that it's a contested shot. No, it's not a contested shot. Go back and put the game tape on from last season and see exactly what you're doing wrong. I don't get why you don't sit down and look at that. You can learn a lot from looking at what you did. Do these guys even do that? I see on their Snapchat stories that they sit down, they take tests just about every game day, but obviously those tests ain't working because the basketball IQ ain't getting any better. Because you're still doing the same damn thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And you can't do that. Yes, they won against the Nuggets, 92-74. Yes, they did. And that's probably the best they've looked for the second time this season. But there were still mistakes in that game. And just like there have been mistakes all over the place. Look, you are 17 games in. We're not even a quarter of the way into the season, but we're getting damn close. You can't afford to continue losing ground like this. I don't care if you are in the Eastern Conference. You cannot afford to continue losing ground like this. You can't. You cannot continue to go out there and do the same inconsistent things and expect a different result. You can't do that. People tend to forget that Jason Kidd was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets a couple seasons ago. It seems to me that a lot of people believe that his history started when he got to Milwaukee and what he did with that huge turnaround from last season. That's not the case, folks. You just can't erase history from the boards like that. He was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, some people may have blinders on to the rest of the league, but I don't. I look at everybody. I look at everything. I'm well aware of many things that are going on in the NBA. One thing that I noticed when he was the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets is they were struggling like the Bucks are right now in that first half of the season. Granted, he had a lot of old guys on his squad. Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. It was an older squad. But those guys were experienced. Those guys were hard, tough-nosed players. And he still got the very best out of those guys. But they struggled just about that entire first half of the season. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but by December, they were calling for his head. They were telling him, he got to go. He needs to get ran out of here. He's awful. He's awful as a coach. What do you guys think of hiring this guy? We don't care if he's going to be a future Hall of Fame point guard. Get him out of here. He's horrible. People wanted him absolutely gone because they were not performing up to the standards of which they thought they would. Jason Kidd stayed the course, looked at his squad, watched game tape, and did what a great head coach would do, which is make the proper adjustments for his squad. Don't be so foolish and bullheaded as to say, hey, I got a system. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to change it. This is what it is. We're not going to make any adjustments to it. You guys, I know we could win just like this. We're not doing anything else. And then fail for the rest of the season. No, what he did was he changed up the entire style of play, both offensively and defensively for that Brooklyn Nets club. They went on to be in the second half, they went on to be the hottest ball club in the NBA, went on to earn a playoff spot, win a playoff series against the Toronto Raptors, and moved on to the second round against the Heat, where they even gave those guys a little bit of fits. I said all that to say this. I have not seen that kind of adjustment from Jason Kidd yet. His go-to move is to go and do all these lineup shakeups. These guys are out of the starting lineup, and we're putting these guys into the starting lineup, and these guys could come off the bench and all this and that. That's all fine and well, but sometimes those lose their luster. Sometimes it's not about who you start and who comes off the bench for you. Sometimes you need to sit down, look yourself in the mirror and say, with this squad, the way we're playing, the things that we're doing right now, the fact that guys aren't acclimated to the offensive system and defensive system, this ain't working right now. We need to make some major adjustments. And it has to do with the style of play, not just the guys and where they play, whether they be a starter, whether they be a reserve. I get it. Guys are still learning. We're 17 games in, but the complete and total inconsistencies, because you have a fully healthy squad. There's no excuse for you to be playing like this. That was the excuse early in the season. Oh, well, you know what? They're not even healthy yet. You're healthy now. Guys are out there playing. Hey, Jabari Parker's starting to look like Jabari Parker again. John Henson looks like he has no ill effects from that early season injury. OJ Mayo looks like he has no effects from that early season hamstring strain. Guys are healthy. You got a full complement of players. There is no reason for these guys to be playing like this. So maybe you need to sit down and look at what you're doing on the court. Maybe you need to sit down and say, maybe I need to go and change up the style of play again. To make that adjustment as a head coach to save our season and to get us on a roll. Because I fully expect this team to go and rip off a long winning streak. I see it. They have it in them. Especially if they play like they did on Monday. That's Bucks basketball. That's how you want to play. Hey, even if they gave up 15 for 31 from 3 against the Hornets, they still only gave up 87 points. That defense is starting to get a little bit better, but they still have a long way to go. This offense, I can't say that they're really getting it better because I still see some awkward spacing. I still see guys playing outside themselves. They're still shooting way too many jumpers. All this is a work in progress, but maybe if this isn't working, you need to go and sit down and say, we need to change something fundamentally. And it should not just be the lineups. Until he makes an adjustment like that, this team is going to continue to struggle, period. There is no lineup fix for this team. It does not matter who you start. It does not matter who comes off the bench. Will you still get the same damn results? Which is inconsistent. You need to do something to get these guys consistent. You're the head coach. Your job is to put guys in position for them to make impact plays. An adjustment is needed. That's how you're going to help this ball club. That's how you're going to help put them in positions to make impact plays. Until that happens, they're going to continue to struggle. They're going to be under 500. They probably won't make the playoffs because, again, the very division that they're in, everybody is 500 or better, with Detroit being the only 500 team, everybody else being better. And you got the Bucks right at the bottom in the basement. Cellar dwellers, which is not something anybody expected. You can't continue to lose ground. You need to do something now. And it needs to be something more than a lineup change, because obviously lineup changes don't mean a damn thing when you get the same inconsistent results. You need to do something fundamentally. You're the head coach. You're a smart guy. You're a smart player. You're going to be a Hall of Fame point guard. You need to do something that has to do with the system. Change the style of play so you can change the outlook that not only your team has, but everybody else, all the fans who go and pay to watch you guys play hard and play with heart and play with effort have. It's time to do something. Put up a shut-up time has been passed. It's time for you to do something. It's time for action. So we're going to be watching you. You got a tough one Wednesday night against the San Antonio Spurs, who are playing fantastic basketball right now. You're going to need a fantastic effort to go and beat those guys, because they're not going to beat themselves. Show me what adjustments you're going to make, and it better be more than a lineup change. So that's the state of the state. The Packers embarrassed the G on the helmet on Thanksgiving night, with future Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre getting his number retired, with Hall of Famer Bart Starr coming back after his strokes and his health problems to one of the best moments, or probably the best moment of the NFL season, in that embrace at midfield, and you promptly drop to your rival, the Bears, 17-13 on your home turf. Embarrassing. You guys need to make some serious adjustments, and it better be a run-first based offense, because that's the only shot that you guys have at doing anything the rest of the season, and quite possibly if you make it to playoffs. The Bucks also need an adjustment, and it needs to be something more than a damn lineup change. It needs to be something systematic. Jason Kidd's a smart guy. Hopefully he'll see this, and hopefully he'll make that change. But until then, you're going to get the same inconsistent results regardless of who you start and regardless of who you bench. It's time for both of these squads to get it together. Playtime's over. Action starts now. Coming up on Toss, we're going to run the toss sweep, and we're going to talk some Badgers football. Where are they going to go for their bowl game? We got some prospects for you as well as their opponents. And we all know and love this guy, some people more so than others. He's getting ready to call it a career. We'll be right back. Y'all all know about our Facebook page, don't you? It's the Toss Sports page on Facebook.com. That's Facebook.com/Tion Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. Like I said, we put a lot of different things up there. We touch on a lot of different subjects that we may not cover on the show. So make sure you guys hit us up, like us. Again, Facebook.com/Tion Sports Show. Welcome back to Toss, everybody. It's your neighborhood T Squared. Tristan Thomas here with you. And it's time for us to go ahead and run the toss sweep. Now, before the break, I kind of gave up a couple of the subjects that we'll be covering on the toss sweep. Let's go to Madison, Wisconsin, where we're going to talk Badger football. They finished up the regular season with a 12th straight win against the Minnesota Gophers, 31-21, to keep Paul Bunyan's axe. And is there a better trophy in all of college football than that? I don't think so. I don't think there's a better rivalry trophy than that. Yeah, you got the Heartland Trophy, whatever. You got the Apple Cup, yippee. You got I'm kind of partial to the Big 12 championship trophy myself. I've always kind of liked that for some reason. But is there really any better trophy in college football than that? I don't think so. Paul Bunyan's axe is it. That's the cream of the crop as far as trophies go. And the fact that you run over to the opponent's sidelines and you grab it off of there, that just makes it a lot better. So they keep it for the 12th straight year. Congrats to those guys. They finish up the regular season 9-3 with a 6-2 record within the Big Ten. Those two losses, and really I count it as one loss because they lost against Iowa. That was a tough 10-6 loss at Camp Randall. The second loss was to Northwestern, but I don't look at that as a loss. That's a robbery. I spoke about it last week. They took that punt return off the board because of an illegal fair catch signal, which was not an illegal fair catch signal. So they kind of robbed those guys off. They kind of robbed those guys from that one. But again, they finished 9-3, 6-2 overall in the Big Ten. Fantastic season by those guys. Fantastic season by those guys. They qualified for a bowl game for the 14th straight season. That is actually the longest streak in the Big Ten. Believe it or not. Most people think, Ohio State, Michigan. No, the Badgers have qualified for a bowl for the 14th straight year, and that is the longest streak in the Big Ten. So if there's been a model of consistency, it's been the Badgers. It's been the Badgers. So proud of those guys for that as well. Now, they have a plethora of bowl game options, or at least some guys are predicting where they're going to go. We got UWBadgers.com predictions. We got CBSSports.com predictions on where these guys might go. You're hearing things like the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, which happens on the 1st of January, New Year's Day bowl game, which was not too bad of a bowl game. And side note, Buffalo Wild Wings used to be my spot, but they've been messing up as of late. 3 strikes and y'all out. We went there a couple of times to pick up an order, got the order home, and they didn't give us exactly what we wanted. Maybe that's a failure on me for not looking at it. But they've never messed up my order before. We go back one time, standing right at the front counter to pick up the order or even place the order. They come back out, and the young lady is showing me everything, and it wasn't what we wanted. I'm like, are y'all serious? You really messing up the order while I'm standing right here? When I just gave you the order not that long ago? Like, are you serious? So they done messed up with me, man. They done messed up with me. So they may have a bowl game, but they done messed up with me one too many times. But that's my little rant and rave on the fast food industry or the food industry, period. So the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, which happens on January 1st, is a possible destination. You have the Holiday Bowl, which happens in San Diego on December 30th, which is another possible destination. You got games like the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. And another side note, what's up with all these damn bowl games and all these ridiculous ass names? That in itself is a mouthful. The Franklin American Mortgage Motor City Bowl. Who wants to say that? Who wants to say that? Nobody wants to say that. You got bowls like the TaxSlayer Bowl, which happens January 2nd. Another one in Florida. That's another bowl game. You got the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, which happens at Yankee Stadium. That's on December 26th. And these are all destinations that UWBadgers.com are predicting the Badgers go to. So they got a few other ones on there, but the main one, and it seems like everyone is in agreement, and I'm talking between ESPN.com, UWBadgers.com, and CBSSports.com, have the Badgers going to the Holiday Bowl, which we mentioned earlier, which is December 30th in San Diego, California at Qualcomm Stadium, home of the San Diego Chargers, or about to be the former home of the San Diego Chargers if they end up moving, which I think they will be, but I digress. Not a bad bowl game. You're obviously hoping for a January 1st bowl game, a better bowl game. Not that the Holiday Bowl is an awful bowl game. It used to be a lot bigger than what it is. The Holiday Bowl was like, okay, this is big. This is big. And it's still a good bowl game. Whenever you get the Pac-12, Big Ten locked up in a matchup, it usually turns out to be pretty good. You usually see that in the Rose Bowl. You know, that's the kind of traditional Rose Bowl matchup. So they usually produce some very good games. Or should I say the Pac-12? Did I say the Pac-12? Did I say the Pac-10? I'm so used to saying the Pac-10. So if I said the Pac-10, I apologize. It's the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. I'm so used to it still being the Pac-10. It just recently changed. So I'm not used to it. I'm kind of old school with that. The opponent, it looks like it will end up being Utah if you listen to CBSSports.com and UWBadgers.com, who they were in prime position for a college football playoff spot until they kind of started faltering with a few losses there. But they're still a very good squad, still ranked in the top 25, as are the Badgers. If you listen to ESPN.com, they're saying that the opponent in the Holiday Bowl for the Badgers is going to be Oregon, which would be another good matchup, another team that was primed for a college football playoff spot until they started to falter and have their few losses there. Anyway it goes, it looks like they'll get a very decent bowl game, December 30th, Holiday Bowl, San Diego, California. Badgers fans travel extremely well, especially to California. So it's going to be ruckus. You're going to see a lot of red in the stands, really no matter where they go, because this Badger fan base travels extremely well. They're probably the one school that I think they travel the best out of any school. I really do. I do. For some reason, Wisconsin teams travel extremely well, whatever the reason is. So I look forward to a lot of red being in there, and it's going to be a great matchup against either one of those squads. I have no problem with the Utah. I have no problem with an Oregon. I think there would be very good matchups for both of them. If you get that type of running performance that the Badgers had against Minnesota, well over 200 yards. Stave was Stave. He was 9 for 17, I think 71 yards and a pick. Disgusting numbers. And another side note, look, he may be one of the winningest quarterbacks in UW Badgers history, but that doesn't mean he was the winning quarterback. A lot of those games were won on the backs of the running backs. So he just happened to be the beneficiary of that. I, for one, will be glad when Stave is gone. He's been way too inconsistent. He's not as great as everybody makes him out to be. All you have to do is turn around and hand it off to one of those running backs. Corey Clement, he had Melvin Gordon. He's had a lot of good backs. So turn around. James White, I believe he had. I think he had him. Maybe that was a year before. But he's had some good backs. So I'll be glad when he's gone. Get a new guy here who can be consistent, get some playmakers on the outside, because that's kind of where Paul Chryst wants to take it. You'll never not see a Wisconsin team not run the football. Yes, they had negative 26 against Northwestern. That was an aberration. You're not going to see that at Wisconsin many times. This team will still be able to run the football, but you're going to see a guy under center who's going to be a dynamic playmaker, be able to get the ball out there, be smart, not turn the football over, not be pedestrian. Is going to be more of a playmaker under center at quarterback in the years to come at Wisconsin. Their future is very, very bright. Again, 9-3 overall, 6-2 in the Big Ten. Their only losses being against Alabama, who at this point, before their SEC championship game, is 11-1. Iowa, at this point, before their Big Ten championship game matchup against Michigan State, is 12-0, and Northwestern is 10-2. So you lost to teams who have at least 10 wins. You can't really be mad about that. And again, that Northwestern game was a robbery. They took that punt return off the board, which would have gave the Badgers a 14-13 lead. No team scored after that. So they would have won that game. Iowa is Iowa, legit defensively, pretty good offensively. They're undefeated. They've got the Big Ten championship game coming up this Saturday. And Alabama, who after their one loss bounced back and it's just playing lights out. Their run game, their defense, it's always there. It's always good. They're 11-1 heading into their SEC championship game against Florida. So it was a good season by the Badgers. They got one more left. You got to be proud of those guys for the season they had. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago on Toss. We didn't really know what the Badgers were going to do. We didn't know what kind of coach Paul Chryst was going to be. What are we going to get out of this team? And you got a very good season out of it. 9-3, 6-2 in the Big Ten with a bowl game coming up. More than likely the Holiday Bowl, probably more than likely against Utah. Again, ESPN has them predicted it going up against Oregon, but I tend to lean more towards UWBadgers.com and CBSSports.com when they say it's going to be against Utah at the Holiday Bowl. I'll be watching. It's an intriguing matchup against no matter who they face. It's going to be an intriguing matchup whenever the Pac-12 and the Big Ten lock up. And now we take the T-Squared Express on the toss sweep, and we take it over to Los Angeles, California, where Kobe Bryant, you guys have heard this story pretty much ad nauseum. It's a farewell tour. He's retiring. Now, I was on the Home Court Sports Radio show just a couple of weeks ago, and the question was posed, and big shout out to those guys again. The question was posed, who should retire first, Peyton Manning or Kobe Bryant? My answer was Peyton Manning, just because of the neck surgeries he's had, the fact that he can't feel his fingertips. Now he's got the partially torn plantar fascia. They don't know when he's coming back. Just a lot of injuries. He's 39. It's time to go, especially after the neck surgeries alone. It's time to go. For quality of life reasons, you've seen him regress in his play. It's time for him to go. Now, I said that Peyton would go first, and he probably, I think he will go. And he'll go before Kobe Bryant only because the NFL season ends before the NBA season. So, but Kobe Bryant is retiring, man, and I said, hey, it depends on how the rest of this year goes for him. If he starts to come out of it and starts to play well on a consistent basis, maybe he'll come back for more year. But he decided that, hey, I just don't have it in me. This season is all I have left to give. He wrote a beautiful letter to the game of basketball. Kobe's gone, man, and for a lot of people, he was their Michael Jordan. Now, bottom line, little kids out there, you guys have never seen Michael Jordan play. You guys don't understand how he changed the game for a lot of people, the greatness that he brought to the table. Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. There will never be another. He is the greatest of all time, hands down, flat out. Does not matter who comes along. LeBron James, in his own class, he's the greatest of his generation. Kobe Bryant is the greatest of his generation. There will never be another Kobe Bryant. I enjoy watching greatness, and he was greatness. He was greatness for as many people that didn't like him, for as many people didn't like him because of his crass attitude, his fiery disposition, whatever the case. You could not deny what he did on that court. You could not deny the winner that he is. You could not deny the killer instinct that he had. I would love to have players on the Bucks just like that. Guys with a killer instinct, guys with a high competitive motor, guys who push their teammates to step up and be great. That is what you want. And that is what Kobe Bryant brought to the table each and every single night. He brought a hunger. He brought a killer instinct. He brought that will to be the best. He brought that will that I'm going to break you. You're not going to be better than me. The only person that can stop me is me. That is what breeds greatness. And he was greatness, man. And again, Father Time is undefeated. All the injuries, the amount of mileage he's put on his body, all the minutes he's played, not just in NBA, but during USA basketball. All the playoff runs, the championship runs. He's been doing this since he was 18 years old, professionally. It's going to catch up with you sooner or later. And Father Time is undefeated, man. It just happened to catch up with him. And, you know, he's a guy I'm going to miss because I enjoy watching him do what he did on the court. I enjoy watching greatness, and he was greatness. So to the Black Mama, congratulations on a fantastic career. Enjoy the victory lap. Soak it all in. Take in all the accolades that you have earned because you've earned them, and nobody can take those away from you. It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure watching you. Absolute pleasure watching you be at the top of your game and be the Mamba. Now, how great of a nickname is that? The Black Mamba, just deadly. So congratulations, Kobe Bryant, on a fantastic career. I'm hoping I can get tickets to that Bucks game where I can see you play for the final time, but those are still up in the air. But hopefully you soak in every single bit of this final journey of the NBA for you. You've earned every single accolade that's coming your way, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch you, and thank you for everything that you did for everybody who is a fan of the game. You did a lot of things the right way. You were fiery, competitive, and trust me, everybody's going to miss that. Everybody's going to miss that. This is Toss. All right, y'all, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This was T-Squared, Tristan Thomas, with you on another episode of Toss, episode 13. So people look at it as being unlucky. I look at it as us just getting started. We are on iTunes and Stitcher. We are also on Libsyn. That's Toss Show, TOSSSHOW.LIBSYN.com. Take a listen to us on all those mediums. We're available each and every single Wednesday, dropping new heat for you. I cannot stress that enough. Each and every single Wednesday, we are dropping new heat straight from the kitchen for you. We're also on Facebook. That's facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. You guys know my Twitter. Get at me at the20double. Some people have been getting confused. It is not spelled out 20. It is actually the numbers 20. D20double is what it looks like. It's actually D20double. Get at me on Twitter there. A lot of you have been. I thank you for that. I thank you for the debates. I thank you for the interaction and the comments. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this thing growing. A lot of big things are on the horizon. Again, once we get those things finalized, we can share them with you. But we're moving forward, and that's all thanks to all of you. So, as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This is T-Squared, Tristan Thomas, reminding all of you that dreams don't catch themselves. Get up, get out, and get after it. Until next week, so long from Toss.